I had a guest by before now, so I will start from here. Page 24, the book, which is very same, Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. Sometimes it can possible some stacked sounds from opposite side of my house. It's like a building, very new things, and there is the nail stuck. Uh, very cut. I don't know what was inside of the house, but sometimes the boards make very bumping sounds. And oh my gosh, it started happening. Oh, on my backyard water spray is working very from now, so can possible uh, another sound from outside. Very loud, but I so enjoyable on here on my back porch here because of yes, very nature, the windy and the I can see the blue sky and white cloud. Yeah, you know, uh, and peaceful. So, okay, let's restart here. Page 24, maybe. Where is it? 24. I went into the laboratory one day and the man was here, big and tall. When he saw me, I shouted strangely and ran upstairs to Dr. Jekyll's room. I only saw him for a minute, but I was frightened. He had a mask on his face. Why? And why did he run from me? It is very strange, Paul, said Arthur. But I think I understand the problem now. Your master has a strange illness. This illness changes his voice and also he also gives him a deformed appearance. That's why he is wearing the mask and why he doesn't want visitors. That's also why he wants that chemical so much to have him become normal again. First face was very pale. Sir, he said, that person was not my master. My master is tall and slim. The man in the laboratory was very short. Then the thing in the mask was not my master. I'm sure that someone murdered him. Poor. This note is in your master's handwriting, and that shows that he is alive, said Arson. However, your doubt means that I must break open the door of his room. That's a good idea, exclaimed Paul. We will do it together. We will do it together. You must tell me everything before we go. He continued, Mr. Urson, did you recognize the masked man? He moved very quickly, sir, as I pulled, but I'm sure it was Mr. Hyde. Nobody can enter the laboratory. Only Mr. Hyde has a key to the laboratory door at the back of the building. He still had it at the time of the uh, kill mother. And one more thing, there's something strange about Mr. Hyde. People feel a cold fear when They see him. Yes, I saw Hyde once. I know what you mean, uh, said Miss Arson. When the masked man jumped up and ran upstairs, I picked that same courtier. I know it's not evidence, but I'm sure it's Mr. Hyde in that room. I agree with you, Paul, said Mr. Arson. In my opinion, Hyde killed poor Jackie and he's still in Jackie's room, but I don't know why. Whispered Mr. Anderson spoke to one of the servants. Paul and I are going to force our way into Dr. Jekyll's room. He said, take one of the servants with you, go round the corner and stand at the laboratory door. Make sure that nobody escaped from the back of the building. We will give you 10 minutes to get there. Then we'll go upstairs to Dr. Jekyll's room. We'll take a hatchet, 도끼, and he and Ursula went through the courtyard to the laboratory. 손도끼를 hatchet라고 하다가 한번 더 찾아볼까요? 음, hatchet. 음, 통도끼 X라고만 생각하는데 여기서는 hatchet 사용했어요. hatchet이 맞나? hatched. 다른 기호를 해서 그다음에 they sat down silently to wait until the servant would get to the building. They heard the sound of footsteps in the room upstairs. He worked all day and night like that, sir, said Paul quietly. He only stops when the chemical comes from the chemist. Tell me, sir, a day my mother's footsteps also listened. Jackie's footsteps were slow and heavy. Those footsteps were very different. No, they are not, he said. Chapter 9. In the room. After 10 minutes, Artisan and Poor went quietly upstairs and stood outside the door to Jackie's room. Jackie, Artisan shouted, I demand to see you. There was no answer from inside. I must see you, Artisan continued. If you don't open the door, I will break it open. Artisan, said, said a voice from inside. For God's sake, please don't. Oh, that's not Jackie's voice. It's Hyde, cried Urson. Paul, break open the door. Paul hit the door with the hatchet. Immediately, Paul and Urson heard a shout of terror from inside the room. Paul had to use the hatchet 5 times before the rock broke and the door opened. Arson and Paul looked in into the room. There was a warm fire. There were paper on the desk and dishes on the table. This is an ordinary room, except for all the chemicals in the cupboard. The body of a man lay on the floor in the middle of the room. Arson and Paul walked silently to the body and turned it on its back. They saw Edward Hyde's face. His clothes didn't fit him, and they looked like Dr. Jekyll's clothes. A glass with a chemical in it was on the floor beside him. He committed suicide, Arson said. Now we must find the body of your master. Arson and Poole searched the building carefully, but they did not find Jackie's body anywhere. Perhaps he isn't dead. Perhaps he left the building some time ago by the door in the street. Said Hudson. They examined the door, but locked. It was locked. On the ground near the door, they found the key. It was rusty and broken. Arson looked closely at it. It's impossible to use this key, he said. I don't understand this at all. Let's go back to the room. Then, frightened, the two men walked silently upstairs. They looked again at the body on the floor and then began to examine the room more carefully. There were different chemicals in little glasses on the table. It seems he was in the middle of an experiment, said Urson. I recognize this chemical, said Paul. Taking a glass, I brought his chemical to him many times. The man continued looking on the desk among the papers. There was a big envelope addressed to Mr. Urson. He opened it and a number of papers fell to the floor. The first was a will, similar to the will in Mr. Urson's drawer at home. However, there was one important difference. Instead of the name Edward Hyde, Urson saw his own name on Honey Jackie's death, or in the case of his disappearance for more than 3 months, all his money and possessions will go to his friend Gabriel John Urson. He read. Urson looked at Poe, then again at the wheel, and finally at the dead man on the floor. I don't understand. Urson said. Hyde didn't like me. He knew Jackie put me in his will instead of him. So why didn't he destroy it? 이걸 왜 없애지 않았을까? 걔가 걔니까. He read the next paper, a short note in Dr. Jekyll's handwriting with the date at the top. Poor Ursus shouted. Jackie wrote this note today. He was arrived here today, but where is he now? He is hiding. Maybe Heidi's death wasn't suicide. Maybe it was murder. We must be careful. We don't want to make problem problem for Jackie. Why don't you read the note, sir? Asked Paul. Because I'm frightened. Arson answered, I hope that I'm worrying. I hope that I'm wrong. My dear Arson, I'm going to disappear. You will read this note after my disappearance. I do not know what is going to happen, but I'm sure that the end is near. Renyon sent you a letter. Read it. If you wanna get more information, you can read my confusion afterward. Your unhappy friend, Henry Jekyll. He started to read the note. Was there another paper? Asked Ernestine. Here, sir, answered Paul, and he gave Ernestine a big closed envelope. The lawyer took it. It is now 10 o'clock. I'm going to home to read this document. He said to Paul, I will return before midnight and then we will call the police. Please don't speak to anyone before I return. Arson and Paul left the door, locked the door behind them. Arson went home to read Reynolds and Jekyll's letter. I will soon understand this mystery, he thought. Chapter 10. Dr. Raynion's letter. Mr. Urson opened Dr. Raynion's letter first. 4 days ago, I received a letter from my old friend Henry Jekyll. I was surprised because we never wrote to each other, and I was with him the night before. I was even more surprised when I read the letter. Dear Raynon, you are one of my oldest friends and I need your help. Only you can save me. You must cancel all your plans for tonight and go to my house. Take this letter, letter with you. Who will be there with the rocksmith? And the locksmith will open the locked door to my room above the laboratory. Go into the room alone. You will see a big cupboard with a glass door. It's locked. Break the lock and take out the fourth drawer from the top. Inside the Inside the drawer, you will find some chemicals, a small glass bottle, and a notebook. Take the drawer with all its contents to your house. Next, you must wait for my messenger. You must be alone. My messenger will come at midnight because then all your servants will be asleep. Give him the drawer. That is all I ask, and you will have my gratitude. I am in terrible trouble, and I need you. Please save me, your friend AJ. I was sure the jacket was mad, but I did everything according to his institution. When I returned home, I examined the contents of the drawer. The chemicals were not familiar to me. Inside the small glass bottle was a red liquid with a very strong smell. The notebook had many dates in it, covering a period of several years. Perhaps these are the date of Jackie's experiment, I thought. But how can the things in this drawer save Jackie? I was very curious, but I was also worried. I wasn't sure That jacket was mentally ill and perhaps even dangerous. I took my pistol from a drawer and put it in my pocket. 음, 여기에 어, gratitude, gratitude 찾아보고자 gratitude라는 단어가 있는데 gratitude gratitude 감사하다 gratitude slight murmuring 이거는 사이를 하는 거고 감사함을 표하는 거는 murmuring of gratitude heartful words of gratitude 감사함이 진심으로 담긴 말 땡큐랑 같은 말이네 gratitude aside from myself okay appreciation 또 appreciate나 thank 많이 쓰는데 grateful to be grateful에서 gratitude가 나왔구나 오케이 컬러를 좀 입혀볼까? 고 다음 장 At exactly midnight, someone knocked quietly on my door. I opened the door and saw a short man standing there. Have you come from Dr. Jackie? I asked him. Yes, he said. Please let me come in. I didn't like the man and kept my hand on the pistol. There was something strange and evil about him. His clothes were also very strange. Strange. They were expensive and of good quality, but they were much too long for him, and he looked ridiculous. But I did not rob. I was too frightened. Do you have it? The man asked impatient, impatiently. I suddenly had hold up. I don't know who you are, sir. I said, please sit down. He sat down on a chair and tried to appear calm. Please excuse me, Dr. Renyon, said the man. You're right. I'm too impatient. Dr. Jekyll and me. He paused and began to look nervous. Something very important. I understood. And the drawer. There it is, sir, on the floor behind the table. I said and pointed to the drawer with a horrible smile. The man stood up quickly and went to the drawer. Thank God, he exclaimed when he saw the contents. His voice was so terrible that I was terrified. Do you have a glass? He asked me. I stood up and gave him one. He thanked me, took some of the chemical and put it in the glass with the red liquid. The mixture changed the color and vapor rose from the glass. My visitor watched these things, she smiled and put the glass on the table. Should I take this glass and leave the house now? He asked, or do you want to run something new, something that will change your life? You must decide, so think carefully. Sir, I don't understand what you are saying, I answered, but I want to see the end. Very well, Renyon, but this must be our secret, said the man. He took the glass from the table and said, now, look. Then he drank the liquid quickly. Suddenly, he screamed and almost fell, but he grabbed the table and held it. The man's whole body began to change. He became taller, and then suddenly his face became black and began to change too. I stood next to the door, to the wall, terrified, putting my arm over my head and to protect myself from the horror. Oh my God! I shouted. Oh my God! Henny Jacket stood in front of me. Jack Hill sat down and talked for an hour. He told me everything, but it is so terrible that I can't write about it. I can't sleep. I feel ill and lost. I am in terror and fear that I must die. I can't relive his story. I want to tell you one thing, Urson, and that will be enough. The name of my visitor, so Jackie told me, was Hyde, the mother of Sir Ben Benber Car- Carroll. Benber Carroll. But Jekyll and Hyde are the same man. Ah, Chapter 11. Dr. Jekyll's companion. Miss Artisan finished Dr. Raymond's letters. He was shocked and his hand were trembling. Trembling, he then began to read Dr. Jekyll's document. I was born into a rich family and seemed certain to have an honorable and distinguished future. I worked hard and tried to be respectable, but deep inside me, I had uh, I had another side. I also wanted to be wild and bad. I hid this second side very carefully when I did bad things, and they weren't really so bad. I made sure that nobody knew. These two sides of my personality made me think about the different sides in every man. Every person has good and bad in him and must choose between them. I wanted to find a way to separate these parts and to give each part, the good and the bad, its own body. I was interested in science and I decided to use chemistry to help me. I knew that this was very dangerous, but I did it. I began to do chemical experiments. I discovered that There are different power in the body, and the certain chemical made some power strong and other power weak. Only one part of me, the good or the bad, uh, the good or the bad, could be strong at any specific time. Changing this power also causes change in the body. I discovered that each side of me, the good and the bad, had its own body. Unfortunately, my discovery was not complete, but I only granted that afterward. I took the chemicals and made a potion, but I waited a long time to try to experiment. I was frightened, but finally the temp- temptation, the temptation was too strong. 유혹이 너무 강했대. I went to a chemist shop and brought a big bag of the final ingredient, ingredient, 마지막 재료를 right one night. I went to the laboratory, put all the the ingredients in a glass, and when the potion was ready, I drank it. I immediately had terrible pain, and I felt very nervous. Then the pain slowly stopped, and I felt strange and new. I felt younger, happier, and free. I also felt really evil. Suddenly, I noticed another change. I was shorter. All the servants were asleep, so I quickly went back to the house, went into my bedroom, and I looked in the mirror. I saw Edward hide for the first time. Because the evil side of my personality was not as strong as the good side. I was younger than Dr. Jekyll, and my face was very different. I had a much more prominent jaw, prominent, prominent jaw, prominent. 어떤 거야 이게? prominent, prominent. 부드러워진 눈에 잘 띄는 돌출된 prominent. 능력치에서도 쓰는구나. prominent. 튀어나온 턱주가리를 가지고 있었거든. 그런 거야. 이 사람은 그렇진 않다는 거지. Okay. Let me try to edit this vocabulary list. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm so curious so what's meaning this word. So I'm quick research out from my dictionary and put on my notes. And so here is the sentence which I have to start here. I had a much more prominent chair. There was goodness in Jackie's face. Heidi's face was evil, but that didn't worry me. On the con- con- contrary, contrary, I was happy to see him. This person was only also me. I ran to the laboratory and drank some more of the potion. I became Dr. Jekyll again. My experiment was complete. I began to take the potion off. Why? Jekyll was a serious doctor. He was old and he was bored with his life. Edward Hyde, however, was bad, white, and enjoyed life. The temptation was too strong. I made careful preparation. I bought a house for Hyde. The police went to that house after the Fairview murder. I always told my servant about Hyde. Mm. And here's another word which I didn't know. So, is it? Okay. Contrary. Contrary. Maybe I already know, but contrary. It's opposite. Contrary. Mm. I often very gotten what's meaning the word, so I have to make sure with my dictionary and in my experience, we have it uh, there. Its habit is so helpful for me to make sure and to make memorize the word more. So that's why I so often stop my reading and to make searching from my dictionary with the word. And I'm very known about my speaking skill is rather my English, but I try to speak out even if I'm so wrong because of it can possible like sentence or using some vocabulary in nature when I met in the person. So okay, and the page. Okay, here's my permission to come into my house when he wants. I told them. Then I wrote my will and gave it to you. Gave and gave it to you. You didn't write the will, but I wanted to be able to use my money even when I was high. Slowly, Hyde became stronger. He began to do horrible things. I was shocked sometimes, but I was safe. It was Hyde, not Jekyll. As Dr. Jekyll, I even tried to have Hyde beat him. The first time was when Hyde heard a widow and then gave a lot of money to her family. Then, about 2 months before the murder of Sir Danvers, Carew, I woke up one morning after one of my adventure and noticed one of my hands. Dr. Jekyll had long, thin hands, but these hands were small and hair, hairy. 털복숭이라는 뜻이지. Harry. They were the hands of Edward Hyde. The night before, when I I was the Henny Jekyll. When I work, I was Edward Hyde. Chapter 12, the end of Dr. Jekyll. I was shocked. I ran to the laboratory, drank the potion, and 10 minutes later I was Jekyll again. But I was very worried. The high side of me was coming stronger than the Jekyll side. How can I keep the balance of my personality? I thought. Is there a danger that I could become high forever? I decided that I must choose between the two parts of my personality and that I must stop changing from Jekyll to Hyde. I choose Jekyll. I wanted to remain the good old doctor with lots of friends and a peaceful life. Or did I? I didn't destroy the chemical and I kept Hyde's house and clothes. For 2 months, however, everything was fine. At first, I was very proud of myself, but later it became more difficult. I wanted to be free. Finally, I drank the potion again. This time I felt different. Hyde was stronger and more evil than before. The night he murdered Sir Denver Carew and grew worse and worse. He enjoyed it after the murder. Hyde went home and destroyed all his paper. Then he went to the laboratory and drank the potion again, checking it. 와, 진짜 이불하게 생겼네. 아, the picture of the illustration. Uh, so it has one man looks like very evil, and his jaw is very ridiculous. The man hold up a glass with the liquid. From there, some vapor rising, uh, and there is the laboratory, maybe because of there are the table on the table lots of glasses with the liquid, maybe chemical. That day, all the newspaper wrote about the murder. I was very happy because now I didn't have any choice. I couldn't return because the police knew that he was the murderer. For the last time, I locked the back door of the laboratory, threw the key on the ground, stood on it, and broken it. 그래서 그거 키가 rush 되고 그랬구나. I began a new life. I worked hard to help others, and I was very happy. One day, I was in a park. I was sitting on a bench thinking about myself and my life. I was content. Suddenly, I felt cold and 아, 내 users 이거 어떻게 발음하지? 내 users 이렇게 음, 음, Let's see. His costume 하는데 nurses, 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 nurses. This is 하고 stagger 하고 days 하고 하나 있네. 아, 일단 이것부터 nurses, 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 nurses. No, no, nurses, nurses, nurses. 이렇게 역겹고 disgust 하는 거좀 다른 건가? nurses. Take this part with the like it, the word and attach it here and nurses. Hmm. Okay. Suddenly I felt cold and nauseous and started to tremble violently. 폭력적으로 흔들리는 거 어떤 느낌이지? 폭력적으로 돌돌돌 떨리는 거? 엄청 떨리는 거. It passed in a few minutes and I looked at my clothes. They were too long for me. I looked at my hands. They were small and hairy. I was Edward Hyde again. I must get the chemical in the room above the laboratory, I thought, but how? I locked the door to the laboratory the last time I was there. I can't go home because my servant know Hyde and will call the police. What can I do? Suddenly, I thought of Rayon. I went to a hotel and took a room there. Then I wrote two letters, one to Rayon, asked for his help, and another to Paul, explaining what I needed. I stayed in my hotel room all day, frightened and worried. That night I went to the Rayon's house. I drank the potion in front of him and changed it into Jackie again. Rayon was shocked at my story, but I hardly heard what he said to me. I was different now. I did not wanna be hide. It wasn't because I was frightened of the police. I did not want to be hide. I went home and went to sleep, and in the morning I felt better. I had hide and I was frightened of him. And now I was at home and my chemical were near me if I needed them. But the morning when I was walking through the courtyard to go to my laboratory, I suddenly started to tremble. I just had time to get to my room before I changed it into hide, and this time I had to drink two potions to become Jack Hill. 6 hours later, I was hide again. From the from that day, I changed it into hide many times. Every time I went to sleep, I woke up as hide. I was terrified and tried to not to sleep. I became ill and finally I began to change into hide without any pain, pain and trembling. Excuse me, sorry. But I knew that it was impossible for him to leave his room. He was only safe at Jekyll, so he continued taking the potion to return to Jekyll's body. I took the potion many times, and the chemical was now almost finished. I sent Pooh to buy more, but the new chemical wasn't good. The color of the liquid didn't change it. I drank the potion, but it had no effect. I sent food to every chemist in London, but I couldn't find the correct chemical. Now, I think I understand why. The first bag of the chemical was not pure. There was something else in it that in addition chemical made the experiment work. I don't know what it was. So I don't know how to make more. I am now drinking the last glass of the potion. I have suffered enough and I don't want to be Jackie anymore. In half an hour, I will change it into Hyde and Jackie will disappear forever. Hyde knows that his end is near too. He will sit in the chair or will walk around the room, listening for any sound of danger. What will happen to him? Will the police hang him as a murderer, or will he commit suicide at the last moment? It is not important to me. This is the real hour of my death. What happened to Hyde does not concern me. I am finishing my letter and ending the unhappy life of Henry Jekyll. Hmm, okay, maybe this is the last page, or okay, yeah, this is the last page, and I have to uh, make the activity. Hmm, I already done this. No, 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 no. No. And yes, next activities on page 31. Alison and Paul heard uh, Heidi's voice. In the middle of the room was a body. Alison said Heidi committed suicide. Alison was surprised because Heidi didn't destroy, destroy the will. Alison took the document and promised to return before midnight. 다음 거. According to Jackie's in, instructions, Dr. Lanyon had to take the drawer. Lanyon's visitors were big. The visitor was terrified when he saw contents. Okay, happy. He was happy. The visitor drank the potion. Suddenly, he changed it. Dr. Raymond was in terror. He wanted to um, read. Maybe no. Okay. Mm, protect everyone. Take a deep. Ah, okay, I want to die. Why? I forgot this part. Okay. Hide and color society destroyed. The midnight and take the drawers to big and happy changes. Okay, check. Okay, I finished the cover makeup and here very last page they have good activities. One of them is for uh, 2 chapters and the other is for final chapter. So, first time. According to Dr. Jekyll, every person has got a good and bad side. Dr. Jekyll wanted to separate his good and bad side. Dr. Jekyll drank the potion and paired to Trengy, maybe. When Jekyll saw high pace in mirror, it was happy or angry. Dr. Jekyll tried to help hide his victim. Dr. Jekyll wanted to live wanted a peaceful life. Hyde wanted to be free. Jekyll didn't want to be Hyde anymore because he was afraid of police, maybe, or hated him. Uh, uh, okay, hated him. And for time, he had started to Jekyll and no, Hyde, and then Hyde tried to be free again and like mother. So the new chemical didn't work. Jekyll drank the last glass of the potion and disappeared forever. Maybe. Okay. Perfect. And final check. While the doctor was examining the girl, mhm, the man, the man said nothing. Dr. Jekyll left all his money and possession to hide. Ursula was curious and wanted to meet Jekyll or hide. Mhm. The man saw the terrible crime and unconscious. After Sir Denver Carroll's mother, Jackie promised that uh, Hyde wouldn't return. Without Hyde influence, Jackie became bored and according to his master was that who believed that the man with the mask was Hyde, who, who recognized the chemical in Jackie's room. The footsteps in Jackie's room were different. 아, 문제 틀렸어요. 뭐지? 아, without Hyde's influence, 하드의 영향력이 아니었다면 자키는 became busy. And finished all my assignment at all, and I will check how much time. Okay, it's around 1.5 hour. Okay, see you later.